Okay.
That's not David J. Turnbull, man.
I'm sorry,
It's not David. That's not David Turnbull.
that's what it says.
I didn't know that's what it said.
I can't answer that. Good evening, everyone. It is 6:30 PM. Notice is hereby given that a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas will be held on Thursday, December 9th, 2021 at 6:30 PM at 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas. All agenda items are subject to action. A recording of the telephonic meeting will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with the Texas Public Information Act upon written request. Ms. Ray, can we get a quorum call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger,
Here.
Alderman Bricken,
Here.
Alderman Rapino,
Here.
Yes, he's here.
Alderman Crickmer,
Here.
Alderman Martinez.
Here.
There is a quorum present, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And we also have City Clerk Charlotte Rabe and the City Attorney Cassandra Ortiz in attendance. Let's all stand for Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
States.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Under God.
with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, citizens to be heard. Do we have any
No one
citizens
signed
to be
up.
heard? Okay, we'll move on then. Item 4, mayor and administrative announcements and updates. I have a couple here. Each of the aldermen have received a copy of an email that I requested from VIA on how the ridership is going. And it's not very good. We have the week of September 13th, we had no riders. The following week, 5, the following week, 1, the following week, 5. The most we've had was the week of October 25th, there were 13. They're indicating that the goal through the pilot program is to average 2 trips per hour. At this time, we are shy of that goal. As discussed earlier, we're looking forward to being at the shops at Sandy Oaks this Saturday for the Community Holiday Fun Event to provide more insight about VIA Link. So just a FYI, that is not working very well. Along those lines, they are going to be set up at the shops at Sandy Oaks on Saturday from, I think it's 1 to 4, if I'm not mistaken. Did you get that posted on the website?
The VIA thing, yeah.
Okay, so the information is on the website there. Gonna have tacos and prizes and all kinds of stuff. So they're encouraging people to come up there and meet with them and see what it's all about. Another item is related to the trash pickup. And I've been working with Waste Connections on putting them in contact with our commercial enterprises out here. That's been completed. We are now finalizing a mail out that's going to be going to every citizen, and they're going to be customized for their particular trash pickup day. So if your trash pickup day is on a Monday, your card will be very specific to Monday. And it has your regular trash, recycle is a different day. We also decided on the bulk and brush pickup dates. So March 7th will be our first bulk pickup. June 6th will be our first brush pickup. September 12th will be the second bulk pickup, and November 7th will be the second brush pickup. That will all be on the information that's going to be mailed out to each.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Will they be sending out those like Tiger? Or do we have to contact?
You
them
have to
individually?
contact them. Everyone needs to contact them to get your account set up.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, that's part of it as well. I do know that they have only received about 65 customers who have contacted them and got their account set up so far. Okay, consent agenda. All matters listed under, this is item 5, all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. There's 3 items on here. Item A, approve the October 2021 city attorney invoice number 1287 from Casan and Ortiz not to exceed $4,411.10. Item B, approve the minutes from the November 11th, 2021 regular city council meeting. And item C, approve the minutes from the November 23rd, 2021 special city council meeting.
I move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino to accept the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. Item 6, financial report. I did not receive any financial.
And all I have are the totals for the checking account.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull this item because there's issues with the accounts. I was trying to reconcile the one account today and I didn't have enough information to do that. So we'll pull this one. Item 7, under police, item A, updates and announcements from Chief Lopez with possible discussion and or action.
No, there's no discussion.
All right, item B, presentation of monthly report by Chief Lopez with possible discussion and or action.
Good evening, council. As we start, if you have your copies right in front of you, for the month of November, we'll start at the top, work our way down. We had 112 court defendants, 179 cases, dropping down to 64 traffic stops, along with 64 citations given, along with 34 warnings as well. We had 6 arrests for the month of November, dropping down to we had 2 assist other agency calls for service, 5 EMS assist as well. Scrolling down to criminal mischief, we had 1 criminal mischief along with criminal trespass, 1 stolen vehicle, identity theft, and recovered property as well. Call for service there. Second page, if you go down to family related, we had assaults, 1 assault, 4 civil matters, dropping down to 1 runaway, and also a sexual abuse of a child, 1 call for service, 1 call for service for suicide threats, and 2 calls for welfare concern. Moving to the third page, we had 10 calls for service for 911 hangups, 1 alarm residence building, 1 disturbance, 2 calls for service for harassment, dropping down to 5 information calls, reports 5, lost properties was 2, property damage was 1 call for service, shots fired was also 1 shots fired as well, suspicious person, 1 call for service, going down to vehicular responses, 1 suspicious vehicle, 2 vehicle crashes, and 1 unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. And if you're looking at for November's arrest, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We had 5 residents that were arrested here, along with 1 non-resident. From the top, 1 traffic warrant, and then also a warrant for intoxication manslaughter. That was a county warrant. Also another county warrant for theft and underage juvenile unauthorized use for motor vehicle, and then assault bodily injury, and then injury to the elderly as well.
Chief, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
When we make an arrest for like an SAPD traffic warrant or a county warrant, do we request reimbursement?
No. There is no.
No, sir, there is.
I'm sorry.
There is.
There is.
Yeah. There's a $50 reimbursement that you have to apply for within 15 days of making the arrest.
Okay.
And if it's out of county, there's a 29 cent per mile mileage fee.
Mhm.
Maybe you to get with the city attorney and see what the procedure is
Sure.
for that.
Yeah, most definitely.
What was the time frame for that requesting?
15 days, within 15 days of the arrest. And what happens is you make the request and the court adds it to the defendant's fines and penalties.
Okay.
Is that for all agencies, county, San Antonio, other counties?
Everybody.
Everybody, okay.
If they're from El Paso,
That-
Appreciate that.
That's, I'll give you the criminal code citation,
Okay.
and it's a very old, it's been updated, but the original language was take the railroad or the most efficient route. So
if they're from another county
Yeah.
that's far away, let's say El Paso, and he picks them up on a warrant, what's our, we don't have to drive them back to El Paso. What do we do with them?
They go to the nearest
they go to,
facility.
they go to
County.
county,
Oh,
and,
okay.
and El Paso makes.
Do we take them to the county?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. I just,
but again, we ask for reimbursement.
okay. Good idea. Great idea.
If it's an SAPD warrant,
Yep.
then they go to SAPD's, their magistrate's office.
Yes, sir, and we make the request from the court that issued the warrant.
Another $1 million in income.
We don't have that
many arrests.
Thank you for that, Charles.
It's my,
I have a question on this intoxication manslaughter. So the woman was driving around in Sandy Oaks and you pulled her over and
Yeah, I believe that she was stopped for speeding and then,
she had that warrant on her because she was blew her bond or what have you?
yes, that's correct.
when you make an arrest like that, do they still get a citation for the speeding?
Mhm.
Okay.
Whatever traffic offenses they do, then we cite accordingly.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mayor, did you want to go over the Bear County? So with the assistance of the mayor here, she was able to assist with the calls for service for Bear County. I believe it was 2000 and 2021 as well. If you have those copies as well.
Yep.
Okay.
It started April of 2020. That's when the SOPD was in. They didn't go back to the marshal.
You're just looking at the top line for April.
November?
Yeah.
Well, the first one is 2020 and the second one is 2020 with 21 below it.
Yeah. So.
I have a question for you on the 911 hangups.
Mhm.
It looks like in 2020, Bear County Sheriff's Office answered 132 of those in our jurisdiction. And in 2021, 160.
Mhm.
And then I noticed on your report, you include those as well.
Mhm.
What contributes to a 911 and a hang up?
It varies. It could be a misdial, a child on the
Yeah.
phone, to those extent as well. Just handling the phone incorrectly. Usually, most of those calls is children handling the parents' phone or misdialed incorrectly. Those are contribute to those.
Because a lot of people have speed down. If you hold the one,
Yeah.
it dials right in.
If you press the side button like multiple times, it'll dial 911.
Oh, okay.
My phone got stuck the other day and they're kind of came to the house.
Or your granddaughter calls and you
Yeah.
gotta show up at the door and say, no, everything's
Just seems like
okay.
an awful lot of effort.
Well,
There's got to be a
They
way
have to
to.
respond.
No, I understand that. I'm just trying to figure out what, if it's a design feature of the
Is that
equipment,
what they
maybe.
do, call them back, or do they have to
Oh,
go
they
to the
show up.
residence or?
Yeah, sometimes they'll get a dispatcher will call them to verify, hey, was it a misdial? And sometimes they'll say, but sometimes they'll elect whether we want to go over there or not. But for us, somebody could still be in distress And
Yes.
we'll usually make contact. Sometimes it could be from a block range from Silver Chalice to Waterwood area, looking for a vicinity area and things like that. Didn't see or hear anything, anybody needing assistance. So we usually, we note that on the activity as well. We don't do a report unless it's something substantial. We just log it in as activity.
Has this been customized just for Sandy Oaks?
What? This report?
Yeah.
That is Bear County Sheriff's Office only
Yes,
responses within our jurisdiction.
within the city of Sandy Oaks.
That is our jurisdiction, yes.
Okay, well, I just wondered, because half the time people seem to think it's Almendorf. And I just wondered if it's specific to us. Okay,
So I am looking at another line item that concerns me. Bear County answered 25 calls related to dogs in 2020 and 24 this year. They've also answered for cows and pigs, and of course.
Yeah, actually, all livestock is under the jurisdiction of the sheriff.
Exactly.
Anywhere in the county.
Yeah. But it was the dogs that concern me, because I don't see, like in November, on your report here, I don't see anything related to any city ordinance violations or any animal-related calls at all. And I'm fairly certain we get those. I'm just wondering if they're going to Bear County and they're not being answered here.
No, all our calls are always answered when I'm on duty or any of my officers are on duty. Some of these calls or when we're not on duty. There's gaps in our shift coverage as well. So that majority of those calls coming during that time. As I can continue to grow with my administrative stuff, I've been not on the road lately. So catching up on investigations and things like that. So that's taking me off the streets.
But they get animal calls at 3 o'clock in the morning
Mhm.
when the neighbor's dog is barking and just,
Noise is another huge issue here. 37 in 2021, 67 in 2020. And, that's not even something Bear County can address. That's an ordinance.
I beg to differ, ma'am.
Well,
They can address it. They choose not to.
but they can enforce our ordinances. And it is an
No, ma'am,
ordinance.
but we have a state,
No, I understand about
we have
disturbing
a
the
state
peace.
law
I
disturbing
understand.
the peace. They choose not to enforce that law.
I believe Officer Castillo and Officer Maggie have this here. If I'm not-
For nighttime, right? Yeah. And the noise level starts at too loud, starts at 10 o'clock,
I believe so. That's it.
and on weekends it's midnight or something.
I think it's 10, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's 11.
I think it's 11, yeah.
or just,
And while we're talking about noise, do we have a way to establish noise levels?
With a decibel meter?
Yeah.
We do,
Yeah, they have them. They have a decimal meter.
Bear County.
No, we do.
Oh, we do.
Castillo and
Okay.
Officer Maggie.
And
The
where,
majority of the time, by the time they get to that they have scanners. And so
Yep.
by the time we get over there, it's already low.
If I was planning a party, first thing I'd do is buy a scanner.
well, that's what they do.
Exactly.
I don't show,
Or
is,
steal one.
where would I find that on your report for noise? Burglary and theft. I don't see
Well,
it.
this is the one that you had created, so I'm not sure if you put it on there or not, so.
Well, this came directly from your other report. All the
no,
numbers were the
But you also
same.
created the report itself, so I went off by what you had created and filled it in.
But I've never seen noise disturbance on your reports.
I mean, we can still add it, so anything others that we haven't added can be added, so.
We have one for disturbance.
Just for disturbance, yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah, we're
We get a
gonna,
lot of complaints for animals, speeding, theft, and noise.
And we're gonna use counties because theirs is a little bit more structured as well. And so we'll just, what I'll do is I'll add theirs into our reports and just, we're not reinventing the wheel here. So we're
Right.
just adding their nomenclatures to ours in alphabetical order.
Okay, anything else on item B? Mr. Rapino, speak up if you want.
What do you need me to do? I didn't.
Tell us how you're
pick
doing.
up.
No, I'm just
I'm,
here and speak up when you want to.
You know, just-
I'm just listening. I'm listening.
Okay.
You
just-
guys are doing fine.
Just to add real quick, obviously, the more officers we add on the streets, more coverage and calls for service that county doesn't pick up. That's the reality of it. We're missing, we don't have coverage on 2 to 10. So once we get, hopefully in the near future, 6 to 2, 2 to 10, and overnights, we'll have more coverage as well, so.
And we also don't have coverage on Wednesday. Is there any chance of changing the schedule so that there's somebody here every day?
We can look at it, but unless we're willing to take coverage off the weekends, because officers do need days off.
No, I understand that.
So, we can have, like I said, if we take up from the weekend, then we're going to have missing coverage somewhere. So,
Anything else on item B? Okay, we'll move on, excuse me, to item C. Discuss and or possible action on confirmation of chief's appointment of Christopher Charo as reserve officer. You each got
Would that be good? Yes. Take it away, chief.
so so obviously adding to our police department, one of my goals was to add reserve officers to help supplement our gaps within coverage within the city. And so obviously taking time, I put the position for 3 officers. Candidacy is very hard to find these days on qualifications and things like that. Officer Charo came from UTSA. He's been an officer for close to 10 years or so. I believe he's got his master's peace officer license. He's looking for a change from UTSA to a municipality to get more experience as well. I think he would definitely be a great asset to this department moving forward.
Excuse me, interrupt. There's no audio coming through Zoom.
Mr. Rapino, you can hear us, yes?
Yes, I can hear you.
Ms. Guerrero, can you hear us?
Yes, I
I
can hear you.
well.
Okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Tremblay, I don't know what to do for you there. Okay. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And so Officer Charo, if you look at his resume, he's got a pretty extensive resume. Like I said, he spent most of his time in a university setting. Did his background, came back with nothing but great positive things from his superiors as well. I think he would definitely be a great asset to the department moving forward. So,
Okay.
to be our first reserve officer.
And who holds this commission today?
He's not currently commissioned as an officer right now. He's still with UTSA. I believe he's a public safety officer as a security guard.
And so why did he give up his commission?
He wants more experience in municipality setting versus from a UTSA or campus setting. Their policing is different than what we do here as a municipality. He wants more experience moving forward with his career and advancement.
So did you come with the authority to be a policeman?
But yes,
Okay.
he's licensed. He's got his master peace officer license. It's in good standing. If we were to take him on our department, we will carry his commission. He would be obligated to do 32 hours per month. That's 8 hours a week. So pick a day, but he's willing to provide more hours on his off time as well to assist. And
That's exactly 4 Wednesdays.
there you go.
So I don't see his masterpiece listed on here. But you're saying he does have his
Yeah,
masterpiece?
you have,
That might have been, I just got it in August.
you just got it?
Yes, just basically in August. I did. my-
Okay. Okay, so you have your master's?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
How long will the training be? He'll be riding with an officer
Yeah,
for a period of time?
Yeah, he'll be riding with Officer Castillo. And so the more time, like I said, he's only obligated to do 8 hours per week. If he's able to come in and ride more with Officer Castillo and learn, the more he comes in, the faster he gets an understanding of how we do here. And the more he comes out and rides, the faster he will be by himself.
How many hours are those
Hours.
training?
He's only obligated to do 8 hours per week. That's 32 hours per week.
You said he has to go through field training. How many hours of field training is he required to
It
do?
it just varies. Reserve officers, it varies just depends on how fast they catch on. There's not a specific time. I have to look at, get with Officer Castillo, see where he's at his training, where's his weaknesses, and then I have to ride with him to see where he's at, where he needs to be, where I feel comfortable that he's able to do his job correctly, safely, along with recommendation with Officer Castillo as well.
He'll be doing the full police officer, all the duties and all that on his own eventually, correct?
Yes,
Full authority.
yes.
It's a, what they call it. Just as, you know, there's no contract or anything, at will employment, right? No problem. Give it a try.
Okay, any other questions?
Do we need to do something?
Sure you do. Every
Up to
item on the
Charlie.
agenda.
Entiendo español.
I'm sorry, sir.
Do you speak in Spanish?
No, sir, I don't speak Spanish. I can pick up some of the lingo, but slang, but I don't speak it fluently. No, sir.
Maybe I should be a reserve officer. Okay. I move we accept the chief's recommendation, whatever we need to do from there.
I second.
Get him up in uniform and on the streets.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger and a second by Alderman Crickmer to approve the nomination. Mr. Ricciaro as a reserve officer. All in favor, say aye.
I
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is unanimous.
welcome aboard, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And I do have a question. Do we need to do a swearing in or is a reserve officer? We do?
Yes,
Okay,
Yes,
we'll do that at a
it
different
can
time.
be, it can be for anytime before he starts.
Okay,
when he gets the
before he
uniform and a
starts.
badge.
Okay. Okay, so Charlotte, prepare whatever documents need to be done on that, please. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, animal control, number 8, updates and announcements from Animal Control Advisory Committee Chair John Crickmer with possible discussion and or action.
There. Penny Paws will be here on the 18th and in the park, and the next meeting will be on the 13th for Animal Control Advisory Committee here
December
at
13th.
6:30 PM. That's all I've got.
Okay, thank you.
Penny Paws does nail clipping, chipping.
No, 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 no,
They don't?
no. They do wellness checks,
Wellness checks,
vaccinations,
vaccination.
flea and tick and
Oh, okay.
heartworm and all that kind of stuff.
That's
Uh,
new to me.
Well, we set up, the city sets up for nail clips and microchipping. They will also do microchipping, but it's cheaper to do it through us.
Okay.
Okay, next up is item 8B, presentation of monthly report by ACO employee Dalton Ellis with possible discussion and or action. Oh,
I'm in the corner.
I see that now. I was about to ask.
You're right.
Who's gonna do that?
So we took in 2 dogs for the month of November. This is actually up to today. This report ran until today, tonight. So 2 dogs, one under there as Buster and one as Tux. Both were on properties that they did not belong on. So they were picked up. And the next page on the outcome summary, 7 dogs left our facility this last month. Buster and Tux being 2 of those. And then the rest of the 5 dogs all went to, I'm sorry, not fosters, rescues.
Yes. I do want to commend Mr. Ellis on his work for working with that rescue, because that was challenging.
Hopefully,
If I'm correct, they've all left the country. Is that correct?
I believe next week they're leaving the country.
But ultimately, they're
Yes,
they're all
ultimately,
going to Canada.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Except for the Chihuahuas. They didn't go to Canada. They're staying.
Rocco and Tinker, no, they actually, the transport lady actually privately adopted them.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many do we have in custody?
We currently have animal inventory. There is currently 5, but this was ran right before I picked up another one today. Over off of Copper Canyon,
Okay.
chasing bikes. So currently
So-
6. So 2 fostered and 4 here at our facility.
Of the Fosters, Twinkie.
Yes.
Twinkie's the one that had microchip and
Correct.
was
So we were
neutered.
unable to contact them
Okay.
or get contact back, actually.
Are we working with another rescue?
I'm trying to find his age is a big issue because he's hard to keep out. So I'm still trying to work with the rescue that you gave me. So definitely trying. There's also a shepherd that I have the shepherd Kylie, someone
Mhm.
interested too. Adoption agency is has someone looking for a shepherd like her. So hopefully she'll be leaving pretty soon.
You don't have to worry about the adoption.
Are you on adoption?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions for, and I do want to mention that Mr. Ellis will be attending his certification training tomorrow.
Yes.
Yay.
So we expect good things from you.
Yes.
Good luck. Be safe.
Thank you for all the work you've been doing.
Doing a good
Thank
job.
you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, any other questions for Dalton on item B? Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, item 9, Public Works. Updates and announcements from Park Advisory Committee Chair Tom Rapino with possible discussion and or action. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Excuse me. I wanted to mention that that the Park Advisory Committee met on Tuesday, 12/7, and some of the discussion was about completing the bench behind a baseball backstop finally, and we also discussed that we were going to begin planning on the butterfly site, and also that we were waiting for the hardware so that we could properly lock the restroom doors. They're due out, so that's what's taking so long to get that project completed. Also, we discussed how the Thanksgiving Day rental went for the community center. Rent went very well, and so we gleaned some profit from that, and hopefully we will be getting more rentals. And we discussed some possible projects for 2022, like some exercise equipment at the end of the walking trail, maybe some solar lights for the basketball court, and maybe some solar shades. We've possibly located a economical solar shade for the for the play area. So they were just some of the subjects we talked about. And our next meeting will be on January 4th. That's all I have.
Well, I have some good news for you. Refrigerator has been ordered.
Oh, great. Which one? The little one or the big one?
The big one, the big one, yeah.
Oh, great.
So I don't know when
Great,
it's
great.
delivered, but it's been ordered, so.
Okay,
Okay, well, thank you, sir. Let's move on to item
you're welcome.
10. Discuss and or possible action on responses received for RFQ for city engineer. So we received 4 submissions. Mendez Engineering, 6S Engineering, Southwest Engineers, and Freeland Hurt Group. And each council member here should have their packets from each of those. And since the list has Mendez first, I will introduce Ray Mendez, who is here, and let you go ahead and address the council and kind of give us an idea of what it is that you guys bring to the table.
Okay, great. Hello, my name is Ray Mendez. I've been here a couple of times. I actually applied in 2017 and we were actually second behind the current engineer, which I think is M&S. We've been diligently trying to get back with the city of Sandy Oaks. We actually worked on the master plan a couple of years ago. And so we're really familiar with the area. Roy Acciona is one of our engineers and he's worked here. He previously worked with M&S Engineering. So he actually knows all about your city already. He knows the grading of your street systems that you did. And then we're looking forward to continue that. Mendez Engineering, we've been around for 10 years. I'm a veteran, a minority-owned firm, but that doesn't define our firm. We do excellent work. We do other engineering service for small cities, including recently the city of Pleasanton, but we also do the city of Converse and the city of San Antonio. For the city of San Antonio, we have several contracts with them. We do contracts such as not only design, but we also do construction inspection for vertical and horizontal projects. We also do projects with VIA. We're familiar with VIA because we're a prime consultant for the VIA as well. And then to top it up, we also do a lot of projects with the Department of Veteran Affairs, mostly at the hospitals. A few here in San Antonio, but surprisingly, most of it tends to be in Temple or Waco. But at the end of the day, we're a strong firm. We have several engineers. Roy actually doesn't live too far from here, so it's easy for him to come to the city, but we tend to alternate depending on what the tasks are. Roy is actually he actually wrote the manual for the drainage and for the city of San Antonio, so he's a subject matter expert when it comes to drainage. But we do have other engineers that do utility work. We're actually proposing on a project here on Mathis Road for Sauls, where they're going to do a water line extension through here to Mathis. So we're applying for that as well. So we know the area really well. We're excited to hopefully be back here and represent the city of San Diego.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone have questions for Mr. Mendez? Okay, then I'll take that as a no. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is 6S Engineering. And I know you told me your name is it Jeff Swain?
Yes.
Jess, I'm sorry. Welcome. You want to tell us a little bit about your company?
Yes, ma'am. Well, good evening, everybody. Mayor, council. I'm really glad I showed up here tonight because I didn't know we were going to be given the opportunity to speak. I've been a municipal engineer for about the past 22 years. I've worked for some pretty big firms. And about 5 years ago, my wife is the president of our firm. So we're a small woman-owned business. And about 5 years ago, I was with the big firm HDR Engineering and left out of there. And now we're doing our own thing. We're up to 10 people. I live about 13 minutes down the road, right behind the Tex, about a mile behind the Tex Best at 97. I'm currently doing big drainage projects. As Mr. Mendez noted, I've done a lot of work with the city of San Antonio. Those design manuals and stuff, I thought they were created by Luis Maltos. But either way, there's a lot of engineers working around San Antonio and stuff. I was born and raised down here in this area. I'm from Tilden, McMullen County. Like I said, I'm working in Jordan right now with the city manager over there. I'm also county engineer for Atascosa County. I'm city engineer for St. Edward, city engineer for Balcones Heights. I do work in Kerrville, Medina County, McMullen County. I work with Judge Teal. So I'm accustomed to writing ordinances. I'm actually working with the 911 coordinator in Atascosa County to help them develop the subdivision ordinances. As you can see with the development we have coming down here, we have to try to keep tabs on things. And I do a ton of drainage. I'm an agricultural environmental engineer at Texas A&M University, class 2000. I've also, my professional license is civil engineering. You will predominantly see me as your primary engineer. I also do floodplain reviews and studies for St. Hedwig. I'm also now starting to work for the city of Floresville. So I try to stay away from development engineering. I review plans. I understand I've got guys who can do site grading, but I don't like walking on both sides of the line. I think you need to, when I work for the city, I work for the city. You don't have to worry about me turning in a set of plans as a developer and then turn around and reviewing or approving my own set of plans. I believe in being transparent and ethical. And I know there's a lot of firms that walk on both sides, try to do both, but you can't do that. The way I was raised up in this industry, I worked for firms starting out of Houston, and we only did municipal engineering. Well, that was Claunch and Miller. But before that, I worked for City of Lufkin in East Texas after I got out of A&M. And I worked for the city of San Antonio for about 3 years before I went into the consulting side. But I've been a municipal engineer thus far, and we're doing pretty well right now. We're growing. One of my other primary engineers, also a young partner in the firm, is Joe Cantu. He's kind of one of my right-hand men, where we do a lot of hydraulics and modeling and those type of things. Drainage, roadway. I'm predominantly city engineer. My major strength, I'd say, is roadway, is what I do. Drainage. We have all those capabilities. I've also done airports, San Antonio International. I did the perimeter road up there for them. That's about it.
Well, that's
Well,
good to know.
We're pretty mostly interested in paving, aren't we? Roads,
Well, that's kind of
Isn't that what-
our
that's
big thing.
primarily
is-
what we need. The hydrology's already been worked out, everything sinks right into the sand.
Yes, sir.
True.
Yeah, and we don't have a floodplain within 10 miles. So
No floodplain within.
Well,
But you,
Well, if it's
Pretty-
soaking in,
pretty
that's good. That's your low
experienced
impact development design, which is also city of San Antonio. So it helps more we can get soaked in, a little less runoff.
okay. Well, thank you, Jess.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate it. We have somebody on the call, but I don't recognize the number. Do we have anybody from Southwest Engineers who is on the call? I'm gonna take that as a no. And the same thing with Freeland Turk Engineering Group. I don't see that. Are they on here? Yes, no? Okay. Okay, well, so now the fun begins.
Mayor, just for, may I say something?
Yes,
to the
ma'am.
Council, for those that have never been through the engineering or selecting engineer, costs cannot be discussed or is not an
Right.
issue. The selection is just based on the most highly qualified, based on competence and qualifications that have been demonstrated. And then a contract for a price is negotiated later.
Yes, thank
If
you.
a contract cannot be met or a price cannot be determined, you go back, then you go to the second
The second one.
qualified engineer.
You're talking directly to me.
Well, I was saying, I addressed you. So I was
It's 'cause she
thinking
can't see through
Alderman Brickmer and then
Charles.
Alderman Burton as well, so.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. This was an RFQ, request for qualifications is what we requested, and that's what they have submitted. So probably the best way to do this is to let one of the aldermen make a nomination for a firm that they would like to have considered first.
But I'd like to say it's a pretty tough decision because
It always,
I've read everybody's qualifications, but they all build roads, they all design ditches, they all have, large projects and small
Mhm.
projects, and just don't take it personally, but I have a really good feeling with Menendez Engineering.
Mendez?
Yeah.
So what would happen then, this is the way it works. So the first person is gonna make a nomination, and then we will take a vote on that. If there's not a second, then there's not a second, we don't vote on it. Then we move to the next one on the list. So that's kind of how the process is gonna work until it's been determined which one everyone's in agreement with.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is. Okay, so did you want to make a nomination first?
Yes, I will make a nomination that we that we appoint Mendez Engineering as our city engineers.
Okay, do we have a second on that nomination? I will take that as a no. Who else would like to make a nomination?
I'd like to nominate.
Sorry,
Whose phone is that?
not mine.
I'd like to nominate, represent, GS Engineering.
6S?
6S.
That's a 6, not a G.
GS, okay. 6S.
Who is that?
6S.
6S? Oh, okay.
So that is Alderman Brookins. So we have a nomination for 6S Engineering. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Alderman Crickmer. So we'll take a vote on that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
1, 2, 3.
Aye.
Tom is an aye. Opposed? Okay, well, that is not unanimous, but it is, the motion does carry.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And congratulations, Jess. I'm sure we'll be
Thank you, ma'am.
talking.
Yes.
And
ma'am.
thank you, Ray, for your time and interest. And I really appreciate it. I know y'all done a lot of stuff for us around the master plan, and I know you're very familiar with what we're doing out here, so, but thank you for that.
No, you're welcome, and I know Jess, he's a good engineer, so you guys will be really happy.
Oh, good.
Thank
See,
you.
you come with a recommendation.
I know him too.
I can't imagine y'all wouldn't know
We've
each
got
other.
along for a while, so it's tough, when you-
Right,
but it's work.
okay. All right, well,
Mayor, I'd
thank you.
also Suggest a motion.
Yes.
The person's authorized to negotiate or discuss
Ah.
a contract before it's brought back to council.
We need another motion?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, I move we authorize the mayor to negotiate the contract with 6S Engineering.
I'll second.
y'all are killing me. You really hate me. So we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino, authorizing the mayor to negotiate the contract with 6S. And I didn't mean anything detrimental to you. It's just I have a lot on my plate right now.
Yes, ma'am.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm,
Any opposed? Okay, that is unanimous. Okay, well, we will be talking probably, I'll probably reach out to you tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, thank you. Okay, let's move on to item 10B. Discuss and possible action on applications received for Public Works position. I think we received one. And he's actually been doing some contract work for us. Our existing Public Works employee had been unable to perform at 100% for a period of time. So the last 2 prior weeks plus this week has been here as a contractor and was interested in the position. So, and I, for the life, have you got his last name? Because I can never. Avendano.
Daniel.
Avendano.
He was back there.
Huh?
He was back there.
No, it's not.
He was.
No, he was not.
No, I thought it was.
No,
So his name is Michael Avendano. And he lives here in the city and he is, he's pretty spectacular. We've had some, he helped out with the bench and did some like on the spot problem solving that we struggled with for a little bit. And he just kind of knew what to do. He, I would recommend that we hire him as a full-time position. And I do understand that we would have 2 people in that position. But the extra hands definitely come in handy.
it's needed.
It is
It's been
needed.
needed for a while.
Yeah, because we have policy in place related to safety that requires 2 to be there. And Public Works has typically worked with Dalton in the, on the weekends for coverage for making sure the dogs are fed.
He's not here tonight, right?
Michael, no, he's not. I thought you were gonna say Dalton's not.
No,
No, he's not here.
okay.
So I would, I'd make that recommendation, but I'll leave it up to council.
Well, I'll make a motion that we offer Michael Avendano, full-time position starting at $14 an hour.
As of when?
The beginning of the next pay period.
I'll second.
Charlotte, do you know when the next pay period begins?
It begins next Monday.
Next Monday? Well, that works out perfect.
That would be a great thing.
And that date would be, hold on just a moment, let me look at my calendar.
The 12th,
The 12th is a Sunday,
the
yeah.
13th, yeah, 13th, yeah.
We'll put it effective December 12th. Okay, so we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger and Alderman Rapino to hire Michael Avendano at $14 an hour beginning December the 12th.
You said 15.
I said 14.
He said 14.
He's at 14.
I said 14.
You said 14?
Yeah.
I thought you said 15.
Yeah. No, except 14.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is unanimous. Okay. Item C, discuss and a possible action on amending ordinance 2015-20 to establish the position of code enforcement official. And so Okay.
21,194.
yes, 2021-194.
Okay.
So I will let Alderman Fillinger, I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger, discuss that one. Only because you've done so much work on this
I'm
one.
going to discuss this one.
Well, you're gonna
Uh,
talk about what works, what doesn't work.
This is an ordinance basically repealing and replacing the prior ordinance languages, and I have some amendments to offer on that. The code enforcement official works for the city and with our citizens to bring properties up to code. Works with them as long as he can, and if they don't cooperate, then it becomes a legal matter. Our prior ordinance was establishing the office of code enforcement officer, which is a very narrowly defined group of people. This is established in the office of code enforcement official. Okay. They either have to be state certified or a peace officer. And I don't know what else to tell you. I hope you all read the ordinance.
You said they do have to be a,
That's what the ordinance says, ma'am. I would like
one
to,
ninety-four or 20? The one we're proposing, the 194?
2021-194.
Okay,
Code enforcement officers shall hold a certificate of registration under chapter 1952 of the Texas Occupation
Mhm.
Code as amended or be commissioned
Or
and
be
licensed police officers in accordance with the laws, state and guidelines set forth by the Texas Commission of Law Enforcement Standards and Education or its successor. That's what it says, ma'am.
oh, okay, but it can be either or.
It can't be either
Okay,
or.
because I thought that that was one of the things we were gonna change.
I thought that was something we were gonna change also. And we may need to discuss that.
Okay,
Looking at code enforcement in the state of Texas, there's currently over 120 openings for code enforcement officers.
Mhm.
Big cities, little cities, tiny little villages. And there's just not that many of them around. So we need to discuss the thing. I want to make a sweeping amendment to this ordinance that every place in it that it says code enforcement officer be stricken and replaced with code enforcement official. And where the plural of officers is there, use the plural of officials.
and I thought, let me find that section on here. Talked about this. Under section 9, it says position of code enforcement official established, alternate reference assignment. So the position of the code enforcement official is hereby established. A code enforcement official may also be known as a code compliance official, and the code enforcement official shall serve under the direct supervision and command of the chief of police. So it sounds like it's written so that it covers both of those, and we could go with either or.
No, ma'am, the code enforcement official can also be known as a code compliance official, and I'm good with that line.
Mhm.
But there are a multitude of places where the term code enforcement officer is utilized throughout the section 2.
Section 7F.
Section,
Oh, there it is.
section 2, right at the front of it.
Oh, hold on.
Position of code enforcement officer established.
Mhm.
Strike officer, replace official.
But it also says under section 9, position of code enforcement official established.
I'm understanding that, ma'am. We're establishing it, but we have paragraphs where code enforcement officer, code enforcement officer, code enforcement officer.
Okay,
We can only legally use that term if in fact we have somebody licensed by TDL, Texas Department of
right.
Labor and Regulation. So we need to strike officer at every instant and replace it with official. And that's a motion, ma'am.
I'll second that.
So it sounds like you want to strike section 2 through,
No, I don't want to strike the sections. I want to strike the term code enforcement officer. And the plural code enforcement officers and replace it with code enforcement official and code enforcement officials.
I think we can strike section 2 through 8,
Hold on.
and that covers the entire code enforcement officer position. And then section 9 through 14
Right.
is the code enforcement official. So the San Diego had originally created a code enforcement officer. I don't know if one had ever been appointed.
No,
No.
So the amendment would also add a code enforcement official in absence of a code enforcement officer. But if your motion is to strike code enforcement officer, I think it would be section 2 through
That's what I was,
8 is what you're meaning to do.
that's what I was thinking, because I thought this covered both.
Yes.
I
Okay.
thought
The
it did
amendment
too.
covers both. It didn't change the prior position that was created.
Right.
Okay, then I move we strike sections 2 through 8 in their entirety.
I'll second that.
Hold on, 2 through 8. And okay, so we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger to strike sections 2 through 8 of the proposed ordinance 2021-194. And we have a second by Alderman Crickmer. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that was unanimous. Okay, so then starting with section 9, going forward,
I didn't have any problem.
you don't have
with
any
the
problems
rest
with the rest of it? Okay. Okay. And so as long as there, I know that this was part of the angst of this particular position, had to do with the licensing and training. And if we don't call them a certain thing, then we don't have to abide by that, the TDLR?
The city has the right and duty to enforce city
No, I
code.
understand that. I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure that this ordinance was written that it allows us to do that without having to abide by the TDLR regulations. as well.
TDLR only they allow and encourage cities to have code enforcement.
Mhm.
But the term code enforcement officer is only applicable and legally used by persons that are licensed by TDLR.
Mhm.
So if it's in this, if it's in an ordinance, then you have to have a TDLR license code enforcement officer.
Okay,
Okay, we can send anybody to the code enforcement training.
exactly.
We can work them under the police chief's supervision. And eventually they can be licensed as a code enforcement officer.
Okay.
But we don't want to see that because then we have to do this all again. They're going to go off to Dallas and make $150,000 a year.
So we need to have a motion to approve this
As amended.
ordinance
As
as
amended.
amended.
Yeah, but I do have a question. So since we're sticking with sections 9 through the end, and this individual would be nominated by the chief of police, and I'm assuming working under the chief of police, would we not require the chief to also attend the same training? It's kind of hard. I think.
We could offer the chief the option to attend the training.
Well, it just seems like it's beneficial to make sure that they know what the job entails. It's not a police,
Actually, it is.
well, no. It's not, they don't teach that in the academy. Do they? Okay. So,
Not rocket science, you know.
well, it kind of is. It's not quite rocket science, but it is.
Yeah, it's not quite rocket science, but there are legal things that a code enforcement officer or code compliance officer can do, and there are things they can't do. There is a procedure. We have to contact the owner of the property that's in violation, make advice and give them a time limit to bring it into compliance.
Mhm.
Your compliance officer needs to know, are there programs able to help this person?
Mhm,
We have a lot of poor people out
we
here,
do.
okay? But there are programs that are able to help those people. So your compliance officer needs to be aware of what he can do, what he can't do. There's compliance officers, code enforcement officers, or compliance officers or compliance officials do not have a legal right to write a citation.
Right.
If a citation has to be written, either a peace officer writes a citation or the compliance official files a complaint with the court. But they both accomplish the same things. If you don't bring your property into compliance, you talk to the judge about it.
And and Jess, you probably need to hear this. We're not in a position yet for building codes. We've adopted the codes, but our planning and zoning is still under development. So that's why we're focusing more on the ordinance violation side of it as opposed to the permitting and inspection side of it.
Well, your compliance official also will work with permitting and
Yes,
as we bring it online.
exactly.
But we can't really put any. But
Right.
we've adopted, but we can't do a whole lot with it until we have a procedure.
Okay, so with that said, what would y'all like to do with that amended proposed ordinance?
I think Mr. Crickman wanted to offer something.
Want to make a motion that we accept ordinance 2021-194 as amended for code compliance official.
Okay, sir, but we don't accept it, we adopt it.
Okay, adopted, I'm sorry. I apologize.
We're learning.
I would second that motion, ma'am.
Okay, so we have a motion by Alderman Crickner and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger to adopt ordinance 2021-194 as amended. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that is unanimous. Okay, I don't have the code enforcement policy. Did we have one?
I don't know if we have one.
I've seen it in digital form and made a recommendation that we change one term in it.
No, I
Do
didn't
you
hear.
have it? Code
No.
enforcement policy?
I sent it to you. Yeah, it's there.
No.
Okay.
Michael, did you get it?
Oh. I
Gary, did you
have
get it?
No,
You don't
because I
have
didn't
it?
get it. I
No?
didn't get it.
Not that I recall,
Oh, I
but that
saw
doesn't
that.
mean much.
Okay, I'm gonna pull this item. And hopefully we can get the right things.
So where was that, ma'am?
I'm sorry?
What was that? I did see that.
Item E. I'm pulling item E.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
You skipped one on me.
I skipped one on you?
Yes, ma'am. I didn't, we haven't discussed.
Oh, that's because I made all my notes for C on D.
That would
Louise.
explain it.
Okay, that explains that. Okay, sorry, I'm pulling item E. Okay, item D, discuss and or possible action on applications received for the code enforcement position. Chief, did you contact anybody and do any interviews for those that were received?
I didn't get anything.
Yeah, ma'am, I'd like to,
Yeah, I should have-
Charlotte sent them to you.
Yeah, I should have got this.
I'm sorry?
No,
I'd like to move that we pull this because
Yeah,
quite honestly, the application
Agreed.
seems they're not qualified for the office.
all right, I'll pull that one here.
I didn't want to say it out loud for them.
Oh, okay.
The applicant
I pulled
said
it.
that it applied.
Got it. Okay, let's move on to item F. Let me get to this one. Discuss and or possible action on establishing the position of assistant to the mayor. So there's an ordinance here, 2021-195. I'm gonna ask Ms. Ortiz if I can change this. Instead of the executive assistant, This individual is actually an intern, working an internship program through the college. Can we change that to reflect that that is, I don't know, an administrative intern or?
Yes, you can change the title, the duties, anything.
The duties are fine. I just, it's the title that was, that I would like to change on that. So wherever it says executive assistant, to change that. Well, it would just be changed to administrative intern, I think. Would that work?
Yes.
Okay. And so let me give you an idea of why this has even come up. Ms. Guerrero, who is on the phone with us this evening, the council previously approved bringing her on as a contractor, and funding was approved at $5,000. And her primary goal was to assist the Planning and Zoning Commission to do the research and help guide the P&Z commissioners as we work through that entire process. Unfortunately, the number of hours that she needed to complete for her degree, because she's currently enrolled in a public administration program through St. Mary's, we were not able to offer her or didn't offer her enough hours to complete that course. And so that resulted in a less than favorable mark for her record, but she's still pursuing it and we're working with the professor. There are a lot of things that I've taken on since we don't have a city administrator. And being that she is working in public administration from an educational discipline, I would like to bring her on to assist me with some of those other items. She's also taking a grant writing course this semester and is submitting a mock grant. And we have ARPA, we have the new infrastructure plan. We have just a lot of things that are going on here in the city. And so that is why I'm asking for this. And again, we've budgeted and approved $5,000 for her. We've spent $500. So there's plenty of funds still there, and it would be on a part-time basis. She would just take on some additional things. In fact, she's working with Alderman Martinez and I as we are going through the implementation of the new permitting and code enforcement software. She would still continue with the planning and zoning and then just kind of be available. I think this is a great opportunity to get her exposure to public administration, just kind of supplement her education. And it quite honestly helps me out a little bit.
In the job description, I saw where she's going to lead the staff. I have an issue with that.
No, she's not leading the staff. In fact, that's why I wanted to kind of change all of this. So removing executive assistant, but she would be a liaison between myself and the staff.
Right here. Would that be gone and that be in there? She's not gonna be the city chief administrative officer, is she? Or is she?
No. She's not it just says that the city council established the city administrator, and then the next whereas is the city administrator is currently vacant and the mayor is performing such administrative duties. Change this executive assistant to intern. And so it would be to provide assistance to the mayor in the performance of such administrative duties and other duties as the mayor may desire. And Ms. Guerrero is on Zoom with us if she would like to join in the conversation.
Do y'all have any questions for me?
When can you start?
Will you be working remotely or will you be in the office here at City Hall?
I'm able to do both.
And so she is currently going to school and she has another job. So
Right.
It would be mostly remote, but she would be coming in depending on whatever the task is that she's working on.
Jacqueline, do you feel qualified to work with the ARPA funding?
With the ARPA funding,
Yes, ma'am.
I believe that working all together is beneficial than just working on it by myself to get ideas of what's going on.
Because one of the things, the ARPA fund is, there is going to be a lot of tracking and reporting that's necessary.
There is, and we'll talk about that at a different meeting. Resources for that.
So
Okay.
just to be clear, it was budgeted for 5,000, correct?
It was budgeted for 5,000, and I looked in QuickBooks, and we've spent, I think it was $519.20 since June.
Okay,
So
so not to exceed then 5,000. So-
we're just converting what she's already signed up for and just changing it and using the same funding for the
Right,
same thing.
right.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
so then she has about, if it's 25 hours.
Well,
So
it
it's-
includes, like, she also gets reimbursed for her travel time, just like any other contractor would be. And attending meetings and stuff like that,
Okay.
and research, the work that she's doing on all those things.
Would she come to city council meetings, do you think, and give us presentations?
She's here.
I know, but in
Yes, she
person.
could, absolutely. Okay, any other questions on that one?
I think you need a motion to make those changes.
Yeah, I know. And I would remove the reference to providing day-to-day leadership. That
Yes, ma'am,
would be very difficult to
I have
do.
a hard,
and
I have a hard beat with that, hard. I said, what?
Yeah,
Because
Well,
if we're gonna
there's-
have day-to-day leadership for our staff, we need to bring a city administrator on.
well, exactly.
I think we need to reinvent the wheel.
Okay. Start with a square log. Um,
No,
Yeah, I don't have an issue with, yes, you need some help, and my only issue was the day-to-day leadership of staff.
Hmm.
If you need day-to-day leadership of staff,
If you're gonna
I
do
will
that,
volunteer to be the interim administrator and deal with staff.
I'll second that.
Because, other than doctor visits, I don't have a whole lot on my plate.
so we're gonna change this to admin administrative intern. And strike providing day-to-day leadership.
Just for clarification, is that providing day-to-day leadership all the way through achieving the mayor's objectives and service expectations, that whole?
No, because I believe anything that she's doing would be supporting that
So
effort.
working with staff to ensure would stay in, is that the proposal?
I would say yes, because she would have to be able to reach out to various staff members for whatever task she's been given.
Well, I've observed her in the zoning commission, and she's a knowledgeable young lady. I have nothing more to say.
Okay, anybody else? Okay,
I misplaced my copy of the ordinance. Uh, I had a question. Every other position we've ever created
Mhm.
required council agreement and had a provision, council could remove for drunkenness, disorderly, or lack of competence.
Mhm.
Once we establish this as an ordinance, hired at the mayor's convenience and removed at the mayor's convenience and taken the city council out of that loop. May be fine today, but what about next year when one of our other citizens is the mayor and says, well, I'm gonna hire, and you can't do anything because the ordinance says it's the mayor. I mean,
Well, and certainly propose whatever wording you think is appropriate, but the situation that Ms. Guerrero is faced with is we, in good faith, entertained her as an intern.
and
And we have negatively impacted her educational.
I recognize that.
Okay, so whatever wording you feel is inappropriate, make a proposal to change that, but to leave her in
Well,
a
you
position.
removed the day-to-day leadership staff,
Mhm.
and that was really causing me some heartburn.
Okay,
I just, can we adopt an ordinance for 6 months and automatically repeal it?
That was one of my suggestions was. to put
Okay.
an end
Okay.
date
Then
since
I
it
make a
was-
motion that,
well, I don't know that,
Would that be a grant, sunset clause?
It could be termed as sunset clause where it either comes back for review or it expires after a certain amount of time.
and I would, I like the come back for review because it's difficult to tell. What if we don't have a quorum? What if we don't, we
yeah,
don't have a meeting?
I have no problem with that, ma'am,
Okay.
but, I would like to amend the ordinance to expire when the $4,500 is depleted. And at that point, bring it back to council. Because if Michael's the mayor next year, he may. He may want to hire a model from State Simon.
Okay. So we have motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger to amend ordinance 2021-195 to expire when the approved funding has been depleted and then bring back for reconsideration. We have a second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion is approved. Did you want to make another motion?
Yes, ma'am. I move that we hire Jacqueline Guerrero for the position of administrative intern.
I'll second.
Y'all are jumping ahead.
No. We're talking about the ordinance, not,
Oh,
we're still on item F.
And
Okay, I'm
before
sorry.
putting the ordinance, the amendments to.
You wanted to make
executive session
changes to the
administrative
language.
intern And that providing day-to-day.
You didn't make a motion for the language.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Let me make a motion. I move that we approve ordinance number 2021-195. After amending to section 3, executive assistant stricken, administrative intern inserted, and striking providing day-to-day leadership. You didn't write down that. And adding a section, inserted in section 6, this ordinance to expire.
We already approved that, so she'll amend the ordinance for that.
Will you amend that ordinance, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Then I move that we change that language like I've already moved and
I'll second.
Thank you.
adopt the ordinance as amended.
I'll try to repeat that. Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger made a motion, second by Alderman Crickmer, to amend ordinance, the proposed ordinance 2021-195 to replace executive assistant with administrative intern and remove from section 3 to strike providing day-to-day leadership. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right,
Any opposed? Did you vote, sir? Did you vote?
No,
Okay, are you abstaining?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so we have 4 that approve and 1 abstain. Okay. Okay, item G, discuss and or possible action hiring Jacqueline Guerrero for position of, well, do we need to amend the agenda? Because it says assistant to the mayor.
No, it's, the assistant is a broad, it's a broad term.
It's a broad
so
term,
just-
okay. It's not for the title, it's for the position. Okay, discuss and or possible action hiring Jacqueline Guerrero for position of assistant to mayor.
I can take care of this, ma'am.
Okay,
I move that we hire Jacqueline Guerrero for the position of administrative intern at Mayor Ball's convenience.
I second.
okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino to approve Jacqueline Guerrero for the position of administrative intern. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I
Any opposed? Okay, that is unanimous. Okay, item H. Discuss and or possible action on a resolution amending the cash asset control policy in the city's personnel policy manual. And that would be resolution 2021-14.
I got more.
Thomas, we hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, anyone have any questions on this particular one?
I don't want to give you this crap.
I'm gonna mute him. I'm muting you, Tom. Yes, sir.
I'm I've had to do this before,
Okay,
okay? And I had to go to the bank every day. Whether I was depositing $10 or $10,000.
Mhm.
I think rather than say make a deposit weekly, we should establish a fund level,
we do,
okay?
$300.
No, we have,
No, that's what stays in the fund, isn't it?
Mhm.
Not when you deposit.
No. Anything over the $300. The
Okay,
$300
I see.
stays for the change.
I think
Okay.
he's talking about a deposit amount.
Deposit threshold.
yes, I'm saying that we're gonna do this every week, when one week we collect $150 and the next week we collect $800.
Okay,
I'm saying that within the safe, we should have a deposit and we should have our $300 operating fund. When the deposit reaches $800 or $1,000, we make a deposit run. But just saying, we're gonna do this every week is not.
Well, you know, the reason we're
necessarily-
doing this is because there has not been any adherence to any policy.
Okay,
There's been money that's been, we're still, Michael and I are still working through it, the cash piece of it, trying, a lot of money, a lot of cash comes through
okay.
the court
I
system. So
Understand that.
we're trying to come up with a policy that says, okay, you know, every week, not every 3 months or 4 months or however long. There's no, because that has to be posted and represented in the period in which it was, that it was earned. So
Okay.
when you're waiting 2 or 3 months, now you're posting something possibly outside of the current fiscal year instead of when it needs to be accurately represented. It also puts the employees and the money at risk. I'm not aware of anything inappropriate. I'm just saying we need better controls in place. As we grow and things continue to grow, this is going to become an even bigger concern. So what would you recommend instead? You want to change it where it says every week if the amount is over a certain amount of money? But we have to be sensitive to the time period as well.
I think we should have a policy that says we will not deposit out of period.
I agree with that.
So I think that's the foundation.
Okay. So we'd make it positive.
I agree.
This day of every month.
Unless you hit your threshold.
Unless you hit the threshold. I don't want to see thousands of dollars sitting here.
Oh, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I don't think if at the end of a week, we have $200 to deposit, I don't think it's,
Okay, that's fine. I mean, but what would you propose?
What would the accounting time frame be, the accounting period be, what you mentioned
Well, by the end of
Monthly?
any month,
monthly?
well, no, it doesn't need to be monthly per se, but any funds that are collected for that period, they have to be deposited
If we-
before the end of that month.
if we collect $10 on the 30th of the month, that $10 needs to be in the bank
Well,
deposited.
It becomes an auditor's issue if we let it
I'm
ride.
just saying.
Yeah, right.
We have auditors. Why don't we ask them?
Sure.
I am an auditor for my company. And yeah, I mean, generally,
Okay.
the GAP principles call for any expense or revenue to be incurred in the month or deposited or received incurred in the month that they're incurred.
Yeah.
So if it's a deposit, it needs to be deposited in the month that it's received.
Mhm.
If it's an expense, it needs to be incurred in the month that it's incurred.
And I have absolutely no issue with that, but saying that, okay, every Friday, we're gonna go make a day.
Does that refer to cash on hand too, or just deposits and debits? I mean, cash is a little different than
Well, it would be
electronic.
It's all financial instruments. So there's money orders, there's checks, there's cash. Those all need to be accounted for.
I know, but I mean, okay. Well, I mean, I take his word. He's an auditor, so okay. I just don't like the idea of having cash laying around.
I agree.
or anything that's negotiable.
Right.
Yeah, especially with checks, because people write those with the intention of them clearing soon. And
Exactly.
we're waiting on them. That's also hurting them.
Right. So it's not cash.
Yeah, no, I understand.
So if you want to set a threshold for an amount, I would not, if it was $100 this week and at the end of the following week, you have another 150 and it's not $300, I'd still say, don't carry it past an extra week. It's only $250, but it's 2 weeks worth. Probably need to make that deposit.
I would say we make a at minimum a mid-month and a end-of-month deposit.
Semi-monthly,
Yeah. Or anytime we exceed,
$800 or whatever. it may be.
though we maintain the $300.
Yeah, that's not money in the, that's just
Yeah, that's not,
static money.
that's make change money.
Right, that's petty
Okay.
cash.
You know, if you want to say, anytime we meet or exceed $1,000, I'm good with that. But, you know, $200-300, I just, you know, or saying every Friday or every Monday, we're gonna make a deposit, but just doesn't make sense.
So what you're saying is $1,000.
We
Once
make
it
a
exceeds
deposit.
that, you go to the bank,
Yep,
but whatever money, whether it's only $1.50, has to go on the last day of the month.
Yeah.
yep.
Okay, okay, that makes sense.
I have a question. Are these court fines included in this? Is this part of the revenue we're talking about?
Yes, sir, everything.
Well, we get pretty good amount of court fines, don't we?
We get a lot
Pretty
of
often.
fines and
It
fees.
build- I mean, the chest builds up pretty quick,
It
wouldn't it?
does, yeah.
I'm in agreement with twice a month, and if it exceeds X amount, whatever we decide.
Okay. So all receipts from daily business will be deposited in the city bank on a semi-monthly basis. Or when the cash balance exceeds $1,000.
Okay,
I'll second that.
Hold on, I'm making notes. 1,000, is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
What about end of month?
that's twice a month, exactly.
But I said semi-monthly.
Oh, okay.
so-
Or if it, either
Or
one
if
of
it
those.
exceeds $1,000.
And that's under the departmental transaction receipts.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there anything else in here that you wanted to address? Why would we? So it says down here, cash and negotiable instruments shall be kept in a location under lock and key at all times to limit access to such cash or negotiable instruments. Any persons not employed with the city should not be allowed to enter elsewhere other than the main city hall foyer. Oh, got it. Okay, that was something else. Combination of safe will be limited to the following personnel. That's what I want to look at.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I have no problem. And ladies, if y'all don't want to go down, I'm the mayor pro tem. I'll go make a deposit for you.
I'll ride with you just to. for the purpose.
I'm good with that.
Hey, do you need an escort?
It's a parade now.
Okay, so
I
we'll
think
go-
the only other thing that in here, and I don't know if that needs to be part of the control policy, but I have asked Ms. Shelton that for every deposit that she makes to print out the court cases, the docket from the docket on what is collected, because trying to match up these deposits is a nightmare. So, you know, I've seen the receipt showing cash deposit, but I have no idea what that cleared. And that's one of the things we're working on is reconciling what the court data system says
Mhm.
and what the bank account says and what QuickBooks says. All three of those have to match, and that's a real problem. So basically, it's a listing, a manifest that goes with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it just a standard journal entry?
Not,
Wouldn't that be?
No, these are,
Well, you have different departments with different requirements, and if Ms. Yeldon receives $100 for this case from this person, there should be a ledger entry for that tied to the deposit. Not made with the deposit, but if we put $2,000 in the bank, we need to know where did
What it was
that
for.
money come from?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's not just court. Court is the
No.
biggest piece of that,
Yeah,
but there's
but-
mobile home permits, there's
Yes,
adoption fees, there's a number of different sources of income that fit into that.
Documentation is key. with any
It is,
deposit.
documentation is key.
well, and like I say, if we put $1,000 in the bank, we ought to know that
That's how it was.
$100 came from Henry.
Hmm.
Julianne contributed $150.
Right.
God bless you,
That'd
man.
be a journal.
Uh,
entry.
No, it's not.
It's not a journal entry, sir.
The audit-
It's just an inventory of
It's
receipts.
the date it's posted,
Uh-huh.
and then it's the amount, and then there's a manifest behind that on where that money came from. So it might be animal control. We do the chip and clip, it might be money
Right.
or an adoption fee, or it could be court, it could be mobile home permits. I mean, there's any number of things it could be. And that's what we're saying. That manifest for that deposit needs to identify
Right.
all of those various components.
May I ask?
No, ma'am.
So,
So what did you want to change on here? Other than on this back page here, the semi-monthly.
yeah, I'm not an auditor, so I don't.
Well, that's fine. Let me ask Michael.
So we're basically only obligating 2 trips to the bank unless
Unless,
we've exceeded $1,000.
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not counting the 300. That's 1,000.
Yeah.
That's nothing to do with the
Forget the
300.
the
300.
300 is petty cash
gonna
that we
stay.
keep on hand.
It stays right there all the time.
Yeah.
Uh, Do we need to vote on the changes to the cash asset control policy?
Yes, so we'd have two motions. One would be the changes on that, and then the second would be the actual resolution.
Okey dokey, but I move that we change the cash asset control policy, departmental transaction receipts from all receipts from daily business will be deposited in the city bank on a weekly basis to all receipts from daily business will be deposited in the city bank on a semi-monthly basis, except an additional deposit will be made when the cash balance exceeds $1,000.
I'll second.
Do you get that, Ms. Ortiz? Okay, so we have a motion to amend the cash asset control policy by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino under departmental transaction receipts, changing from weekly basis to semi-monthly or when the cash balance exceeds $1,000. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is unanimous. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Now, the actual resolution itself.
I move that we adopt resolution number 2021-144 with the amended cash asset control policy.
I'll second that also.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Bellinger and Alderman Rapino to approve resolution 2021-144 with Exhibit A as amended. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that is unanimous as well. Okay, moving right along. Item I. discuss-
May I call for a 10-minute recess?
Okay.
Well, we could. Okay, we're gonna take, is 8:15 PM. We will reconvene at 8:30. It's 8:30 PM and we are going to reconvene the meeting. Alderman Martinez, so something you would like to do?
Yeah, I'd like to recall item rather H, section 10 for the cash policy
Okay,
Which item?
for reconsideration.
for reconsideration. Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion
The
by
cash policy.
Alderman Martinez to reconsider resolution 2021-144.
I second the motion, ma'am.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries. Go ahead, sir. What would you like to address on that?
The reason for me recalling the resolution is because under the cash asset control policy, it mentions only municipal court will be deposited in the city bank on a semi-monthly basis. And I believe we have a general, I can't remember the exact explanation, but we do have a general fund or general deposits that we receive for permits and other likes.
Mhm.
And so I believe we need to extend the semi-monthly deposit to that as well. Otherwise, we would be semi-monthly on one item and weekly on the other.
So the same requirements that we did for municipal court, have that apply also for departmental transactions as well? Okay.
Good point.
So we essentially, we have two banks. Is that what we're saying?
We have two cash drawers.
Okay,
One is managed by the city clerk for permits and
okay.
animal control fees and stuff like that, and the other is the municipal court cash box.
Okay.
So you want to amend it to do what?
To extend the policy for the semi-monthly deposits to not only the municipal court, but to the general deposits as well.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be two separate. It would be combined.
Okay. At what point do we commingle those funds? I mean,
When they're deposited. And there's a manifest that goes with it. So let's say you had $1,000 to deposit. You have a $50 animal control reclaim fee.
mhm.
And then you may have a $100 mobile home permit. And then you may have $900 in court fines and fees that was collected.
Okay, so the court clerk will generate a manifest of the court funds, and the city clerk will manifest or will generate a manifest for general funds. Yeah, when the two of them add up to $1,000, we'll make a deposit. Okay.
And I'm just wondering, Ms. Ortiz, should we reflect that? I don't know, does it need to be reflected within each of the departmental segments, or can it just be a?
So I would probably suggest the same language that was amended or adopted with the departmental transaction receipts be included in municipal court,
Okay.
but add in each one $1,000 combined with, for example, municipal.
Well,
court,
I think
1,000 combined with departmental combined with municipal. So it's a combined $1,000, correct?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think we have that in the departmental transaction receipts. All receipts from daily business would include both the city clerk and the court clerk. No,
I agree. The departmental transactions, that the court is a department.
all receipts from daily business, but we don't care where the business come from, which volunteer steps forward to contribute to the municipal funding.
Mhm.
All receipts, that's pretty. The only thing that we're actually doing differently at this point is generating a manifest of where those funds come from.
Because they have to be recorded in QuickBooks appropriately.
Yes.
So would it make it easier to strike under the municipal court receipts, that language, and either combine the two municipal court receipts with departmental transaction receipts, or include something? shall
That's
be
what I was
deposited?
thinking, was that all receipts from municipal court would be combined with other departmental receipts. Yeah. Take out that weekly. And we're leaving the 300 in there for petty cash.
I wouldn't even worry about municipal court. I'd strike that and just say all receipts. Wouldn't you? That would include everything incoming in.
What's the balance in petty cash that you maintain? $50. So there are two different requirements, because the court has a need for more petty cash.
Okay, then because in our departmental transaction receipts,
Mhm.
which is everything except municipal receipts,
Mhm.
it says we have maintain the change fund of $300
that,
there. So, you know.
There's a separate.
So do we have?
Yeah,
another-
Yeah, see, I
There's
think
a
change
separate
fund on
50.
this thing, change fund and petty cash are two different things.
Well, that's what petty cash
Yeah.
is used for,
Yeah.
is change fund. What I'm thinking is, if we delete the first line, the first sentence out of municipal court receipts, just strike that entire line. Pick up with the second sentence. Because somewhere down here under departmental, we need to reference that
Well,
the
let's strike the first sentence from the municipal court fund will be deposited in the city account on a weekly basis.
right.
And then under departmental transaction receipts, all receipts from daily business insert, including municipal court receipts, will be deposited in Citibank on a semi-monthly basis, or when they
Right.
when the balance exceeds $1,000.
That's correct.
And the only thing that we're not accounting for in this is the $50 petty cash that the city clerk maintains.
Okay. Look at that.
Or
Well,
just,
we
if
have.
if we change the
maintain it.
300 under departmental to 350, that accounts for both of them. And if you want to designate 300 for the court and 50 for,
Well, we have the $300 up under the municipal court receipt.
right,
I would say we just changed the $300 in department transaction fees to $50. But I'm just talking, everybody else can have a turn.
You said line 400 departmental transaction receipts, change the 300 to 50.
Well, that's what the city clerk maintains in her petty cash account. where the municipal court dealing with larger amounts of money keeps a cash box of $300 to make change.
Okay, so is there a motion in there somewhere?
We're just discussing
Oh, okay.
with no other input. I move that we strike the first sentence from municipal court receipts and amend the first sentence under departmental transaction receipts to read all receipts from daily business, including municipal court funds, will be deposited in the city bank on a semi-monthly basis or when the balance exceeds $1,000. Check and credit cards will be treated as if they were cash, period. Second sentence, the cash store and current software will serve as the check and balance to reconcile and maintain the change fund of $50, period. That's my motion to amend.
Would anyone
I'll
like-
second.
Okay, we have a second. We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino to amend the cash/asset control policy. Strike the first sentence under municipal court receipts and under departmental transaction receipts. Change it to read all receipts from daily business, including municipal court. And then in the second sentence, referencing the change fund, change that from $300 to $50. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. All right, that one passes. Thank you.
Now, a
Now we
read-through of
need to,
the
we need
resolution.
to renew the resolution, man,
As amended again.
because we, yes.
As
we
amended
withdrew
again.
it.
Okay. Okay, who's up?
I should be your assistant. Okay. I move that we adopt resolution number 2021-144 as amended the second time.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger and a second by Alderman Rapino to adopt resolution 2021-144 as amended the second time. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that is unanimous. Okay. All right. Moving on to item I. Discuss and or possible action on adding Juneteenth, which is June 19th, to our list of federal holidays observed. Any discussion on that one?
Another paid holiday for employees.
Yes.
Does that take one away?
No,
Or
it
is
would,
it just
it would be an addition.
just an addition? Okay.
You don't know the total cost of that?
No,
I just wondered.
I mean, I didn't calculate it.
I just wondered.
Do you know?
No, I don't
Oh,
have
okay.
a clue. I'm not here for clues. You're the clue person.
Is there a motion?
Well, I move that we adopt Juneteenth, June 19th to our list of federal holidays observed.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Rapino to approve adding June 19th to the list of federal holidays observed. Do we have a second?
Oh, second.
We have a second by Alderman Crickmer. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that was unanimous. Okay, item J, discuss and or possible action on an MOU, a memorandum of understanding with Bear County Sheriff's Office to outline the requirements of access to the Bear County Network and the Bear County Regional Information Sharing Hub. This was something that was never completed, and there is a second page missing here. So item 7 on their MOU, they misspelled agency. They said we can change that on here. They were not going to change it, but we can change it if it needs to be. It says here the agency must designate at least one of its employees known as the local administrator. I don't know who that is. It didn't say how we designate it. And then item 15 talked about and I need to find it. You have page 2?
No, no.
Let me see if I can find that.
Ugh.
15 talks about some page that you don't have. Hold on, I'm getting there. I'm waiting on this thing to open. Oh, jeez. Okay, on the 3rd page, it says user fees will primarily be applied to BC-RISH ongoing maintenance and support expenses and are addressed in the Master Bear County Regional Information Sharing Hub Cooperative Agreement for the exchange of law enforcement and criminal justice information to be executed between the agency and Bear County. So I asked them if they had that, and they acted like they didn't know what it was. So they said, there's no fees and we don't know what that is. So, but it's in their agreement. So I don't even know what to do with this.
Could we kind of put this off till we have all the ducks in a row?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, well,
I'd like to see all the pages.
well, but you need to understand, this has never been executed from the marshal's office or the PD.
okay.
This isn't, something's never been done.
Well, this was submitted, I turned all the information to Bear County. Bear County runs very slow. Okay, so that was done on their part, not on Marshall's office, not on the police department.
No,
So they needed to get together.
But
So
when you
hold on. When I talked to the administrator, that sent me to this, all it needed to be signed, obviously, she wants to make the corrections. They don't have a problem with it. So they don't have a problem with it, me signing it and turning it in.
What does it involve?
It's just an agreement for us to run the CAD system through Bear County, running plates, using their configuring system and things like that.
I thought we did that already.
When I submitted it, they didn't do their part. And it was never signed by their commissioners or their end. So Mary reached out to them, they produced it, now this is where we're at.
And it's a different agreement.
Is there any kind of money involved, fees or anything?
So when we run our fees, I think they go, Bear County runs through San Antonio. And they collect their user fees, whatever that may be. I believe it's once a year.
Well, I like the idea, but I'd like to see it all complete.
I agree.
And any money that we might have to pay.
I'm thinking we have to pay them for their services, don't we?
We pay it to San Antonio.
To San Antonio,
Yes.
not to Bear County.
Do we have an agreement with San Antonio for that?
They handle through all this. This is everything. San Antonio goes through this and they're linked together on this.
Okay, I'm gonna pull this one and
Obviously, it hasn't changed our operation because, it's been such a long time since this is.
Let me ask you this, although
sir.
it was interesting reading what you presented this week,
Mhm.
or what the mayor got. Is this actually vital to anything?
Oh, yeah.
Sure it is. It's the legal authorization for them to utilize the systems. So we don't
That
technically
we're-
have that,
That we're all.
that we're
already
using. Yes.
Okay,
None unless we want to.
But I do know when we had the original conversation before Chief Lopez was brought on, there was discussion at that time due to radios and some other software upgrades that they were going to do. At the time, there was no cost, but that they anticipated these costs coming. So
well.
what I don't want to happen is us to be blindsided with some probably amount of money that we didn't know about or budget for.
Right.
And find out that we're operating outside of,
Or pay
Via-
the
via-
cost
via-
of CPS,
right.
losses.
She does it coming.
So San Antonio is doing an upgrade through Cryptic. And so that is, since we bought the latest radios to be configured, we still have to pay an upgrade to that. I believe it's like $1,100 or so. And so, but majority of that, all agencies are having to go through that because we bought the latest radios. It didn't impact us too much on the cost on it. So
And when do we start paying for that?
we haven't paid it yet.
That's when my question, when do we start paying for that? And how much is it going to be
Like, I don't know. I don't have the exact, about $1,100 or so.
per radio?
No, for all to be reconfigured, encrypted for all our radios.
One time?
Just one time, yes.
Is that budgeted for?
I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
But it's something that we didn't necessarily see coming either, right?
Well, no, we've known that
Yes,
there's
this
going to
upgrade
be
is coming.
fees. That's why we're trying to nail down all the,
Gotcha.
if we have an MOU in place, we know exactly what to expect. We don't have one in place, so we don't know what to expect. Okay, so we'll pull that one and work on it in the future. Okay, the last one is item K. Discuss and or possible action on approving resolution 2021-143, approving an investment policy and designating a public funds investment officer. So this is an annual event. This is not something new and different. Unless there are some significant changes in here, Ms. Ortiz. to
No,
the-
the resolution says no.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. The only thing we would have to do is designate the officer. Correct?
Correct.
So currently we have Alderman Rapino is our investment officer and Alderman Crickmer is his backup. So they've both been through the training. I would recommend that we continue with that. If that's okay with everyone.
well, their name's in there as delegation of responsibility, so I'd say we adopt this puppy.
Is that a motion?
I move that we adopt resolution number 2021-143, a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Diego approving an investment policy, delegating responsibility and authority and providing for an effective date. That was the motion, ma'am.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. So we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger and a second by Alderman Martinez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hold my nose because I don't want to sneeze.
Was that?
Can we do a vote real
We
quick?
know that's not the truth.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. You may put yourself on mute and sneeze.
I must have sneezed 500 times in the last 2 days.
Okay, it is 8:54 PM and we are adjourned. Thank you, sir. I hope you're doing well and stay in touch with us.
I will.
I think allergies are
As soon
bad.
as I saw that resolution, my name wasn't on it, I'm all for it.